Welcome, travelers, to my realm of nightmares. Allow me to be your personal assistant. Come in, take a seat, get comfortable. For when you step into my realm, there's no stepping out. Liam snickered. Look at this. There was a pile of dead birds laying in various states of decomposition by the window.
That's rancid, man,
Brian said, covering his nose and mouth. I stood a few steps behind, shaking. The light from my torch was visibly vibrating on the wall. Nobody noticed, but I was terrified. Brian and Liam were talking. I couldn't focus. I felt myself being drawn to the room across the hall, like my very soul was being slowly pulled by some unknown force. Danny! A voice came from the abyss, forming before my eyes. Danny! Everything returned to normal in a flash, as I saw Brian and Liam staring at me confused. I felt faint.
Danny, you okay?
Brian said as he began to approach me. I'm fine. I just felt a bit dizzy, I said, feeling like my legs were about to give way. Oh, I'll be okay. Just let's get this over with. Liam snickered at Brian and patted his back as if to say, What's his problem? I took no notice. The others followed into the hallway, where we stayed for a few short minutes.
Let's try the other room then.
Brian broke the silence.
The one we thought Liam was in earlier. We should at least look in since he thought someone was in there.
He continued, nodding in my direction. He began walking with Liam in tow towards the room opposite. I hesitantly followed. I didn't want to go, but I didn't want to be by myself. I tried to handle and barge in the door, but it would not yield. It must be barricaded shut somehow. There's no lock, Liam said, looking the door up and down. Let's just head upstairs. I stared at the door, knowing full well it was opening itself earlier. I saw it shut with my own eyes. Brian saw it opening too, but he wasn't acknowledging the fact that this didn't make any sense. He turned and followed Liam like an obedient puppy to the stairs without saying a word. I was hot on their heels as we began climbing the old stairs. Pieces of concrete from the stairs were crumbling and falling on the floor below with every step. We made it to the third floor, 2 rooms on this landing, both without doors. It smelled like shit up here, although the whole place smelled like shit, to be honest. Immediately a scraping sound could be heard from the room on the left, like metal and stone. I pulled my hammer from the bag and held it out in front of me, ready for whatever may come at us. Liam chuckled. Danny, put that away. You couldn't swing it if you wanted to. He glanced at Brian for approval, but Brian's eyes were fixed on the blackened doorway. A slow, continuous rhythmic clicking sound began coming from the dark room. Our torches weren't powerful enough to illuminate the inside. They seemed to be reaching the doorway, then losing all light to the darkness beyond. Liam didn't seem to be fazed. I couldn't tell if he was hearing the same thing as us. So, we just gonna stand here then? Liam asked sarcastically. What's up with you two? You hear that, Brian? I murmured, ignoring Liam completely. Brian nodded, eyes wide and trained on the doorway. Liam scoffed. Very good. Well, I'm gonna look in here. If you two are both too scared, then wait out here. Liam walked towards the door, getting slower as he got closer. I could tell his brave streak was quickly dissipating. He did continue through, though, albeit cautiously. Liam disappeared into the darkness. Brian looked at me and tilted his head towards the door.
Come on, we can't leave him. We need to go in, man. Brian
started towards the darkness, the light from his torch disappearing unnaturally, the same way Liam's did as he crossed the threshold. I let out a huge sigh and began walking forward. the ominous clicking still reverberating in my ears. I entered the black room. The torch wasn't much use. I could only see a couple of feet in front of me. The room felt huge. I crept around for ages without finding a wall. The doorway, acting like a safety beacon, seemed to be getting smaller as I continued on.
Fuck off.
Brian yelped as it bumped into him. Sorry, I didn't see you, I said, placing my hand on his shoulder. Where the hell is he?
No idea. I can't see jack shit in here.
Brian replied, sounding agitated. The room appeared to be filled with a thick black fog that impaired our vision and also our ability to see very far using the torches. The clicks seemed to get louder. I really didn't want to follow them, but it was the only source of anything in this room. We had to at least find a wall. I startled myself as I bumped into the stone wall. It felt cold and wet, almost slimy. Found a wall, just follow it, I said with my hand still on Brian's shoulder. I guided him along the wall, torches in front of us the whole time. The torches struggled to cut through the darkness, but only a few feet away, I could begin to make out that we were approaching a corner. Adrenaline pumped through my veins, and my skin turned ice as I noticed there was a dark figure standing in the corner. Liam? I stammered, inching closer, praying this was another joke. We were close enough now. I could make out the clothing and hair. It was him, but what the hell was he doing? Liam, stop! We found you! Ha ha! Great joke! Stop being a dick! The figure turned to face us. I could just about make out the white eyes and expressionless face. It was Liam, but he seemed really off. The lights completely died on mine and Brian's torches. We were immediately plunged into the deepest black you could ever imagine. We froze in fear. The room was dead silent. You could literally hear a pin drop. Then from the corner in front, a scraping sound and some scratching noises inching closer to us. I looked back at our safety beacon, the doorway, and saw someone standing near the doorway too. We had no way out. The scraping and scratching got slowly closer, and a deep, menacing laugh was barely audible, but definitely there. Then a little gargling sound that sounded like it was from a distance. We started to inch back to avoid Liam's creeping advances. Even though we couldn't see anything, I'm sure I could feel his breath on my face. What are you two playing at? Let's head upstairs quickly, Liam shouted from about 15 feet away. I turned to the doorway and saw him standing there, looking like his perfectly normal, annoying bastard self. We sprinted to the door, but not before Liam bolted upstairs to the 4th floor, laughing like a lunatic. Brian and I stopped in the hallway to catch our breath. What was that? What is he up to with his stupid jokes? I said to Brian, who was looking at the stairway. Hiding in the corner like a weirdo, I continued after a few breaths.
Was it him in the corner, though?
Brian said, seeming unsure of himself. Well, I seen him. So yes, it was him. Then, when the lights went out, he must have ran around to the door. He's trying to scare us again. It's not happening. I felt pissed off at Liam's stupid games. There seemed to be a bit of a role reversal. Brian appeared terrified, whereas I felt like I had to suck it up, take the lead here, and put a stop to this. I felt proud of myself for not being scared. Then, Brian had to ruin it.
But how would he know that the torches would stop working? The 2 torches at the exact same time? And how could he know we would find him in there? That room was insanely dark. The time it took him to somehow get past us in pitch blackness and get to the door to then run upstairs was about 3 seconds. He done that without a sound when you can't even see your hand in front of your face.
Brian's voice began to tremble. I started to question myself. I could feel the fear building in me once more. I turned to the room. The clicking had stopped, but there were scraping sounds now and again. I turned back to Brian. So, you think that wasn't Liam in there? My voice trembled. He looked at the stairs.
Either that, or that wasn't Liam who ran up the stairs.
Brian looked back at me, dead in the eyes. But we both saw him. It was him. I felt like I was pleading for an answer, for some sanity.
You saw him in there too. What did you see, as it was definitely him? Could it have been the shadows or something else?
Brian took a few steps towards the door, stopping just in front.
Liam!
He gave a quick shout. It was him. It was definitely him. But he looked weird. I couldn't make out the full face perfectly, but I know it was him. I was beginning to struggle with my senses. But then, we both saw him at the door, and it was definitely him being himself, being a dick. I don't know anymore. Maybe my brain was tricking me? I had to sit on the floor for a second and collect my thoughts.
So, we can both basically confirm that we're sure Liam ran up the stairs. Then I think we should just go up there and get him and just get out of here.
Brian turned and headed for the stairs. Let me get up. 2 seconds. I got myself to my feet and met him at the bottom of the stairs. They went up and left and up again. We could see up to the next landing. It looked the same as that room.
Get the candles,
Brian said. We pulled 2 candles and a lighter from the backpack and lit them. They didn't do much, but it was something. Rock, paper, scissors for who goes first? Best of 3? I suggested.
No, we don't have time to fuck around. I'll just go first.
Thankfully, Brian's brave streak had returned. We crept up the stairs, listening for any sounds. Apart from the rubble and junk catching under our feet, the whole place was relatively quiet. The air felt thick up here as we approached the last few steps. A dagger-like chill pierced my skin. It was unnaturally cold.
Liam, come out. We're going home.
Brian called from the top, holding the candle out. I joined him at the top and held my candle out in an attempt to light the area up a bit. Come and look at this, Liam's voice echoed from the other end of the hall.
No, we want to go. Just come out. We're not leaving you,
Brian replied. Just quickly, you need to see this. Then we can go. Liam's voice called over again. Brian and I looked at each other. I shook my head no.
No, Liam. Just hurry up, man. We want to go,
Brian shouted. Well, I want to go home. Liam's voice sounded closer. I didn't see anything, but I heard a sharp exhale, and something blew up both of our candles. At the same time, an ear-shattering clatter of metal from way below rang out, like someone emptying a bag of spanners onto the road. We were both absolutely dumbfounded.
What the fucking hell was that?
Brian was visibly trembling in his boots. It hit me like a ton of bricks. The ladder, I said as we began both scrambling back down the stairs. My worst fears were confirmed when we reached the steps leading down to the first floor, the ladder being literally thrown across to the other side of the landing. The Halloween clown decoration was standing in its place. Its eyes lit up, and its mechanical arms and head began to move. Welcome to hell, children, the clown screeched. Tonight's story was part 2 of the Scotland Bell Witch series, written by Reggaejunkiegee, featuring Viidith22. If you enjoyed this story, please check out Reggaejunkiegee. His links will be in the description below, as well as check out Viidith22 channel. He's a great narrator and a great personal friend of the channel. Check them both out and let them know PA sent you. Hey, did you have merch? Well, I do. If you'd like to walk around representing my realm and gaining new travelers, the links to my merch store, as well as all of my other social medias, will be in the description below. As always, I'd like to say a special thank you to all my lovely Patreons. 242 Reads, Rando Calrissian, Seraphine, the Midnight Bard, Creepy Girl, Hair Raising Narratives, Spooky Boo, Scary Story Time, Lycan Trucker, Awkward Alien Kayla, and Pimp Demon. If you'd like to join these lovely travelers but light them on fire, you can do so by becoming a Patreon as well. Please remember that support is always appreciated, but it's never expected. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and ding that bell if you're new, as it really helps push this video into the algorithm and helps the channel grow.
But as always, travelers, once you step into my realm, there's no stepping out.